Hello, welcome to Vitopia TV. Today we're going to make a rich chocolate cheesecake. So, first thing we need to do is prepare the biscuit base in our sandwich tin. So this is a sandwich tin with a push-out bottom, and we've just lined the bottom, roughly lined it with a piece of parchment paper, greaseproof paper. And we need to oil that paper. So the nice people at Pure have given us this piece of paper on top of the margarine. So we can just go straight in and just oil that paper, get it all over. And that is now ready for us to press our biscuit base down into. So the first thing we need to do is we need to melt some margarine in the pan. So I'm doing this by sight, but you want about 3 to 4 ounces of this, I guess. Let's pop that in there and see how that works. You don't have to pour it all into the biscuit mixer. It doesn't matter if you go over a little bit. Well, that's slowly melting. Let's turn it down a fraction. We can start to crunch up our biscuits. So, let's get a mixing bowl. These are Tesco's Everyday Value digestive biscuits. They're the only digestive biscuits that Tesco do that are vegan. So let's put about 8 ounces of biscuits in there, which is going to be roughly about half this packet, a little over half this packet. And then we're going to go mad and break these up. So we want a nice thick biscuit base, about ½ centimetre thick at the bottom of the cheesecake. I'm going to break these up by hand first, and then we'll get something like a rolling pin to break them up a little finer. So we're going to use a ladle. We're going to use the back of a ladle here to crunch down our biscuits. Yeah, that's the sort of sound we want to hear. Nice crunchy. You could blitz these up, but they crush up quite well on the back of a spoon or with a ladle, and it's quite nice to have bits in there rather than a very, very fine powder. Just give that a little bit more. Keep turning the bowl here like I'm doing, so you're just getting it nice and even. It's about ready. And then we're going to put our margarine in there. Okay, good. Margarine is almost melted. Okay, good. And bring the margarine over. Pop it on top of your biscuits. Now I've taken a little biscuit away there, taken some out just in case I have too much biscuit now. I can always add a little bit of biscuit if this doesn't quite go thick enough. So that's a little bit thin, so I'm going to add a little bit more of this biscuit crumb to it. It's got a nice biscuit based smell now. Just get up in there. Lovely. And you can press it down. You can see there's some lumps of the biscuit still in there, but that's quite nice. It gives as well as the smoothness of the biscuit base, you also get the crunch of the biscuits as they're roughly broken. So as smooth as you can. Press it all down with the back of the spoon. And before you put the cheesecake topping on this, you want to chill it in the fridge for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Just enough time to get the other bit done. Okay, it's good to go. Right, the topping. So we have our biscuit base setting in the sandwich tin in the fridge. And the next step is to melt the chocolate that's going to go into the cheesecake topping. So we're using this 74% cocoa chocolate, dark chocolate, and we're just going to break it into what we've got here. There's a Pyrex heat-proof bowl just sitting on top of a saucepan of water that's gently boiling. We don't want that to be too hot because we don't want the chocolate to start to break up and get gritty. Just going to break about 1.5 bars, I would say, of this chocolate. Let that do its own thing. Oops. There. Probably overdone. Okay, so we'll let that chocolate melt down. The next thing we need to do is get the rest of our topping ingredients together. So moving back over here. In this food mixer, we're going to combine some castor sugar, some silken tofu, some vegan soft cheese, some vanilla essence and some chocolate essence. And pop those in here and let that go ahead and do it. So we use 1 full tub of this. This is the soft cheese. Let's take the bowl off there first so we can get everything in there. Let's give that a dry. Check the chocolate, it's doing okay. Right, tub of soft cheese, in we go. We want about a cup of that castor sugar. Let's use one of these, that should be enough. So that's going in on top of the soft cheese. And about a teaspoonful each. The vanilla essence there, and the chocolate essence to give that a nice rich chocolatey taste. Right, that's plenty. Okay, let's start that off before we put the silken tofu in. Okay, so that's just combined the soft cheese, the castor sugar, and the chocolate and vanilla essence. So we're going to put the silken tofu in now. Now we probably want about half of one of these cartons. Let's chop the top off. Should be soft enough to squeeze out. Let's just check we've got no water on there. Excess liquid. And pop about half of that in there. Okay, so we've got about half there. And then start the mixer again. So I'm just going to test this mixture now and see if it's smooth or if it's still gritty from the sugar. So spoon in. Okay, now that's ready for the chocolate. Bring that melted chocolate over, get it into the mix. Actually, let's put that on while we're doing that. We can now take this off and finish it by hand. That topping is now ready for our cheesecake base. You can see from this base that it's slightly over on the oil, so you'd probably want less margarine than I used, and a little bit more of the biscuit. Just go straight on top with the cheesecake mixture. So this is just silken tofu, castor sugar, the cheese, soft cheese here, and the two essence. Just mix them together. And when this is set, we're going to finish it off with some shaving, some grated chocolate on top. A luxury Excellent. Just smooth that down as best you can, it will find its own level. And that usually takes about 40 minutes to an hour to set in the fridge. Okay, so in an hour's time we'll come back to that. Let's get it out of the fridge. Now a tip to getting these out of the sandwich tins where the bottom is not fixed, so the bottom moves, just pop them on top of a cereal bowl and pop them down like that. And it comes straight off. Then we can get the knife around and get it straight onto a plate. Now I've chilled some of the 74% cocoa chocolate here. The reason I've chilled it is when I scrape the chocolate bits on top of here, I've got the longest time to work with this before it starts melting in my hands. So we literally just scrape like this to get some nice chocolate bits all over the top of the cake. It just adds a little bit of bitterness. Gives it a rich chocolate flavour. Excellent, done. Take a little bit of kitchen roll, just go round the plate, clear that chocolate off. There we have it, some rich chocolate vegan cheesecake. I'm going to cut through it now and see what it looks like. To just go in, cut right down to the biscuit base. Nice generous slice. Let's try and separate it from the paper. Get a nice slice. And there we have it.